I'm Rachel Humphries, Alumni Relations Officer here at Avondale University College. Today, I have the privilege of sitting down to talk to Dr. Graham Stacey. Now, he is our 2020 Alumnus of the Year. Welcome and congratulations, Graham.
Well, thank you very much. I feel very honoured. Thank you, Rachel.
Now, we just want to have a quick chat to you about what's going on in your life and a few things that have happened since you've been at college. So I like to start with, I keep them easy to start with. So in a sentence, just tell us, where you're living, who's your immediate family, and what you're currently up to.
Okay, well, I live in the beautiful Wangi little village on Lake Macquarie. Retired here. The immediate people in my life, Roseanne, my wife, of 50 years this year, which is...
Congratulations, and
again. Good. Thank you. We have 3 adult children. Brenton, I think quite a few of you know, in around Avondale. Darren, our second, and his family are in Brisbane. Alita, our daughter, and her family are in Southern California. So that's our family. Plus 10 grandchildren, I might say. 10 grandchildren.
Sorry?
Plus, I must say, 10 grandchildren. So that sort of completes the tribe.
I was going to say, that's a nice tribe.
Yes.
Now, you graduated here from Avondale. It was theology you did in 1970. Now, who is it here who made a positive influence on you? And if you wanted to thank anyone for, I guess, that impact, who would it be and why?
All right. I'm going to, with your permission, I'm going to put a little context around that. When I decided to go to Avondale in the 60s, my family and I were not that familiar with, tertiary education. So I was sort of the first in the family to do that. And I went off to Avondale. And looking back on it now, I know I went to a training school. Now, I'm not putting it down in any way, but I went to a training school, and its primary objective was to train people for working in the Adventist church. But along the way, I got an education. And what I mean by that was that the first steps, I'll change the metaphor. The first doors were open to think more broadly, to reason critically, to read widely, to appreciate, multidisciplinary input and so on. So going to a training school and then getting an education was sort of, I'm not sure they did it by stealth, but it was sort of one of those things that I didn't expect. And so in that regard, the people, I remember having just one class with Dr. Magnuson about science. And I thought, wow, this is cool. And then the John Cox and Dr. Heffron of the era about literature, and Russell Crans, who sort of introduced the ideas of Christianity in a broader context. And of course, Dr. Ford encouraging us to read widely and think deeply. So once I got the bug, I've got to tell you, once I got the bug of education, my wife would say I couldn't stop. So, went on from there.
Yeah, you certainly did. So after finishing at Avondale, I think you worked, 15 years sort of in the church ministry administration sector?
It was not quite that way, but anyway, the context is after Avondale, I was working in youth ministry for quite a few years. Living and working in Western Australia, which was an interesting time, which is a topic for another day. But I also wanted to help people. I realised I had limited training. I got a bit of a shock when I went down to the local university and asked if I could build on the education or the training that I'd got at Avondale. And they said, in those days, this is 50 years ago, We don't recognise that degree. Very different now. So I had to start over and do another degree, which was fine.
And this was at Curtin University, is that right?
At Curtin University. It was called Wait in those days, yeah. And then I wanted to just get better at what I was doing. We went to America first time, took the kids with us, did a master's in marriage and family therapy, came back to Australia and tried to put that into use with the church, youth ministry, family ministry, bit of psychology. Went back to the States again to do the Masters in Ethics and the PhD in Clinical Psych. A little spell back here at Avondale, working for the church over there, the psychology department, teaching at La Sierra. Yeah, came back here and then we went back again. Can you believe?
I can't.
Yeah, went back again. Well, it keeps the garage clean, I've got to tell you, because you throw away everything every time you make the move. And the last 10 years, I was an associate dean and teaching in ethics and religion. And it sort of brought together all of the things that I'd done: youth ministry, ethics, clinical psychology, and then retired. So, it was good.
So how many years do you think in total you actually spent in the States?
It's going on, I think it's about 25, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's pretty impressive. What do you miss the most about the States?
Well, the quick answer is my daughter and my grandchildren. I think, the more, in addition to that, in the university setting that I was in, working with people from every continent, every country of the world almost, students from all over the world, people with different religions, different diversity, different backgrounds, all coming together to work to help humanity, at one of our church's institutions. I miss that, I must admit. Wanji's great, but I do miss that stimulation. Yeah.
So you listed embrace necessary change as one of your, I guess, ideals in life. But what's been the biggest change that you've endured in your life?
I'm going to take the liberty, Rachel, of just tweaking your question a little bit. Somebody once said to me that I have one foot in heaven. I guess they were thinking about my theology or my ministry side, and one foot in hell. I think they were probably had in mind my psychology side, but I'll let you work all that out. I've never felt that way. But one of the things about being a sort of scientist type and a religion type is taking in information about humanity from just a wide array of disciplines and so on. And embracing change is that I've committed myself, I think, to taking in evidence, pursuing truth, thinking about things, embracing ideas that have backing, etc. So that necessary change, which means, I must confess, that sometimes you have to prune away some old ideas. That is always a bit of a challenge. So one of the things I delight in trying to do is to try and help my church sort of on that journey a bit. And I'll give you one example if you wish. When as a psychologist and social scientist, I realized that on the topic of sexual orientation, that people become aware of their orientation. They don't choose it, and therefore they can't unchoose it. That forced me to think differently about that topic. And so I'm going to do that and try and help people of faith sort of understand a bigger perspective, possibly.
Yeah, I think that's a really important part of our church, and I love that you're doing that.
Yeah.
Now, I guess you said one of your hobbies was, family history. So you've taken a great interest in that area, and you've done a fair bit there.
Yes.
Any great family secrets, gems, things in the closet you want to share with us? What has it taught you?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. My wife would call it an obsession, actually. But what we like doing is traveling around the world and sort of standing in the places where our family came from. In fact, just this morning I was working on it. You don't need to worry about who this guy is in this picture, but it happens to be my great-great-grandfather. And he happened to own a pub in Kent, in England, when his son was in Australia, starting to get interested in this quirky little group of saints over here and joining the Adventist church. And I just find it fascinating, grounding, wonderful, humbling to stand in the places where people before me gave me life, if you like. And so, did I find anything? There's no royalty. There's no money, hidden money, just simple, everyday folk. So family history, that is a passion. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, no, we stand on their shoulders.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, another hobby you've got is marathon events. Have you been in many? Is this just a running hobby you've got, or do
Yeah.
you actually get out there and go in those marathons?
Well, running marathons used to be something I did when I had a body that could handle it. The body has since decided that marathon running is not the best idea right now. Yeah, I ran a lot, and by the way, Roseanne ran many as well. Um, uh, Los Angeles, Melbourne, all across not all across the states, but in different places in California. Yeah, I don't know how many, but now marathon running is a distant memory, and now it's walking around the lake in Lake Macquarie.
And that's not a bad thing either.
Yeah, that's not bad either. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Dr. Graham Stacey. You are our 2020 Alumnus of the Year, and Avondale honours you for bringing a greater understanding of human nature to the continuing revelation of divine character. So thank you for your time and congratulations.
Thank you so much.